What's going on, football fans? It's time for another edition of the Pound for Pound. I'm your host, J.R. Clark, and today we're going to be doing a recap of the Pittsburgh versus Atlanta game that happened on Sunday. As some of you know, we tried to do a live stream last night and had some pretty rough technical difficulties. So me and Toby didn't feel like it was right to leave y'all without, some form of recap, letting you know how we felt about it. And so I'm going to, do a recap today for the ones who didn't see that live stream, didn't catch we didn't archive it because, like I said, we had some pretty rough technical difficulties, which we apologize on that, and trying to smooth that stuff out and figure out what went wrong there. So we may hold off on doing some live streams until we get that sorted out. So without further ado, let's talk about the game yesterday. First and foremost, our starters looked good. I mean, they looked real good on both sides of the ball. I mean, our defense went 3 and out right at the beginning of the game. In that series, Grady Jarrett looked real good. Dontari Poe looked good. Keanu Neal played yesterday, so that was real good to see. You even got to see, Vic Beasley, dropping into coverage, looking good there. So, the first team defense looks like it is rip-roaring and ready to go. And that's, that's what you want to see with this, with this group. Kind of some of the struggles that we had last year was on the defensive side of the ball. So to see them, make that next step, take that step forward, and, seems like they're picking up where they left off last season towards the tail end where the defense was holding its own. So, the offense got the ball starting at about the 10. Last week, you saw them, against Miami. They only had to go about 40-something yards and score a touchdown, which was good. I mean, they did it, and that's what you want to see. But it was good to see, like, a full drive. I mean, they had a 90-yard, or 90, they went 90 yards down the field. So you really got to see Sarkisian in some of the play calling with the ones. Looked pretty similar to what we had last year, which is what everybody was kind of like afraid of and worried about was, were we going to have much of a drop-off? And I don't think you're going to have, a ton of a drop-off. That's what I've been saying all offseason, and you're finally kind of getting to see it. Be real excited, obviously, for week 1 to see how that goes. But, Austin Hooper looked real well. Yeah, he looked real good. Looked like he's becoming that trusted target, that Matt Ryan has liked throughout his career. The time with Tony G and a little bit of time with Jacob Tamme. But it looks like Austin Hooper is taking that next step, fighting for yards, getting that first down. He looked real good yesterday. Same thing with Sanu. Sanu looked real well with that stiff arm. Looking like Agent 12 is in mid-season form already, which is what you want, what we're looking for. Toby yesterday brought up a good question about Justin Hardy. Had a little bit more time to watch the game. He was out there with the first team. I saw his number come across the screen, so it must not just be his reads. He may still be in necessarily the same position, the same role that he was last year, which was that, 4th wide receiver spot, or, 3rd or 4th on the progression, in the play. So, not necessarily worried so much about Justin Hardy right now. Wes Schweitzer started the game at right guard, looked real good there. Looked rough on the first play. He kind of got pushed back real hard after that. But after that first play, he seemed like to settle in and look real good. That Teron Ward run actually came behind Schweitzer. That was the side that got cleared out, the right guard and center. So you saw some run blocking prowess there. Teron Ward looked pretty good yesterday. I think he's really cemented his case so far in my mind as the 3rd running back. I mean, obviously Devontae was in concussion protocol. And so Coleman started the game, had a couple runs, nothing real major there. But then Teron Ward got a heavy dose between him and Brian Hill. And Brian Hill looked better. I was glad to see that was something that I noticed after the Miami game, that he needed a bounce back game. And I think it took playing behind the ones and the twos on the offensive line, allowed him to show a little better, allowed him to show some of that power that he can run with, some of that physicality, which is what they were looking for, I think, when they drafted him, because he's definitely more of a power back than he is anything else. So I think they really got a good look at what Brian Hill could potentially be capable of behind the first string and second string offensive line if it comes to that. But I also think that he's either going to be buried on the depth chart and only play special teams this year, or he's going to be a practice squad guy. I don't see him unseating Teron Ward for our number 3 back. So that brings us that's kind of the good. Other than, let me just go ahead and get it out of the way. We'll do all the good and then we'll do all the bad. But so we finally got to see Takk McKinley this week, and he did not disappoint. Granted, I know he was playing against backups or whatever, but for his first NFL debut, he had 11 snaps with I think it was 2 QB hurries and 1 QB hit, which is what you want. You got to see that strength and that speed was on display. I'll be really anxious to see how he does next week, if he actually gets to play against some of the Cardinals ones. But he looked real good. I mean, one of the plays that sticks out in my mind is that he was bull rushing and then saw that it was a run play and quickly disengaged and rolled out to go after the run. So it's good to see him diagnose that and not just tunnel vision to the quarterback, so to speak. I suspect that going into this year, you're going to have, he's probably going to be featured primarily in rushing the passer, I would think. Where, kind of think about it when we brought Freeney in, like the snaps that Freeney took. I imagine that being Takk McKinley this year, at least early on in this year. I think it's going to be a lot of obvious pass rushing. I think that's what he's good at. That's what I think will easily translate, and then the other stuff will come along slowly, or not slowly, but come along naturally, I think, as far as beefing up against the run and stuff like that. But Takk looked real good. Duke Riley looked good, looked a lot more comfortable this week than he did last week. Made a couple real good stops. Man, that dude he is really good at getting through traffic on the field, and that's something that stood out to me personally. So that's, like I said, that's, for the most part, that's the good. That's the good that we need to take from this game, because there was sure enough bad, in a sense. Thankfully enough, the bad came from the guys who are probably going to be jobless when the season starts, as far as not on an NFL roster. I know that may sound heartless, but I'm just, I'm giving you facts. I think that the bad didn't come from the guys who are going to be on this team. So, in a sense, that's good. Everybody wanted to make a big deal about, Matt Sims. I don't think Matt Sims is going to be on this team come game 1. I'll be surprised. I don't think he has any practice squad eligibility left. So, I don't see us carrying 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. So, I'm assuming that Sims is probably going to end up in, if I had to take a guess, he's probably going to end up in San Francisco with Shanahan. If I had to take an absolute stab at it. But I don't think he'll be on the Falcons. I think the Falcons tried to give him this game to put game film out there for him, to try to, make him, get him an easier sell, if I had to take a guess. So I don't think y'all should have to worry too much about Matt Sims. I mean, hell, if we get down to Matt Sims, we're in trouble. So, I'm not necessarily worried about what happens when the deep reserves are on the field. But I'll go ahead and say it, the deep reserve offensive line did not look good. So far, the TJ Talavea switch to tackle hasn't looked great. We didn't get to see our new offensive line signee, the Pastor. He'll probably play this game, if I had to take a guess, either this game or the 4th. But you kind of already know what you got in him, from his 4 years in the league already. So, like I said, the deep reserves on this team didn't look great. Special teams, Keith Armstrong is probably gnashing teeth all the way home. I mean, we gave up a special teams touchdown. I can't remember the last time we gave up a special teams touchdown. I'm sure somebody will know in the comments or whatever, but I can't remember right off the top of my head because normally our special teams units are pretty good. And the fact that we had 2 almost blocked punts and a kickoff, a punt return for a touchdown, that's just, man, Keith Armstrong's going to be losing his mind. That's all I really got to say on that. But, so those were the bads in my opinion. The second/third string offensive line and the special teams unit of the deep reserves. But again, I think the guys who were messing up yesterday aren't going to be on the team come week 1 anyway. So it's not something I think we have to worry about so much. Either me or Toby will be doing a preview for the Cardinals game, which will be the big dress rehearsal. It'll be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. These are things that you got to smile about and look forward to. We should see the ones play, a vast majority of the half, if not the whole half and part of the third. But we should see good playing time from them, and that'll give us a real good idea of what this team's going to look like this year. But I think we're in good hands with Sark and Manuel. So, with that being said, I appreciate y'all sticking with us. I know this video ran a little bit longer, but I was trying to get into stuff that we were talking about yesterday on that live stream that fizzled out. But we appreciate y'all's love and support. We ask that y'all keep commenting, keep sharing, and keep showing us the love, so to speak. And we'll show it back to you. All right, guys, rise up.